Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sheep Get Sheared Podcast, home of people, politics, and popular culture. I'm your host, Austin Creed, and I want to address all three of those elements right now. I want you, the people, to discuss some politics and the direction of popular culture with yours truly, Austin Creed. Now, my friends, I listened to parts of the debate last night. I couldn't listen to all of it. Look, I'll be honest with you. I can only take so much of the circus that's passing for our political structure today. But you know what? It caught my attention because there's a certain individual on that stage, the guy who should have his own orbit. You know, look, I don't want to put him down for the way he looks. All of us have our own personal flaws. I get it. Here's the problem, though. He keeps saying that Trump should step aside, Trump's a criminal, you know, the standard stuff we're hearing in the media and the stuff we're hearing all over the place. So I want to ask you, the people, what do you think? Should Trump step aside? Should Trump go away? And if you think that Trump should step aside, who should take the nomination for the Republican Party? It's just a pretty simple question. But I want to play for you the soundbite of which I speak. This wasn't made at the debates. This was made with Anderson Cooper, of all people. You can often tell the stripes and colors of the person by who they hang around with. That's all I can tell you. But listen to this. I'm going to play this clip, and I'll let you judge for yourself what you think. Let's play the clip.
How about blame him? He did it. He took documents he wasn't supposed to take. He kept them when they asked him back for them. They got a grand jury subpoena. He refused to comply. They raided his home finally because he refused to comply. Loser, loser, loser. Now we're getting going, it'll be different this time. Why? Why will it be different this time? Those arguments need to be made, and I'm not afraid to make them for two reasons. One, I'm not afraid of him. And two, it's the truth.
Do you think he'll show up to those early debates?
You bet he will. His ego will not be able to stop him. The reason we're struggling to make ends meet is because government spending under Joe Biden has gone completely out of control. If those two people are the nominees, they're going to be a combined 160 years old on election day. I'm sorry, guys. Nobody beats Father Time. Nobody does.
Well, my friends, what do you think? I mean, I can tell you what I think. He talks about ego, talks about how he's not afraid of Trump. He's jealous of him, I'll tell you that. That's about as pretty apparent as you can get. But my friends, this is what I don't understand. When did it become an entire campaign became about getting rid of Trump, being an anti-Trump guy? That seems like his main selling point. I mean, what else does he really talk about other than helping the military-industrial complex, promising changes that he won't specify all that much in detail, and then saying that Trump's no good, Trump's evil, Trump's nasty, Trump's a criminal, whatever? That's what's passing for a campaign today. You know, I have very complicated beliefs about this. Because when I look at the Democrat machine, which has really become the Democrat socialist machine, very eerily similar to that of the Democrat Socialist Party in Russia before the rise of the Soviet Union and the takeover of the government, I can't help but notice that there are Republicans who are falling in line with the whole story of Trump's no good, Trump is evil, Trump is bad. And you know what's bad? What's bad is that apparently every single president except for Trump, according to what I have read, has connections to slavery. And yes, that includes your half-black president, Barack Obama. That includes him, by the way, in case you didn't know. Trump is the outsider, and if there's one thing that the elites hate more than the other side of the aisle, it's someone from the outskirts trying to make their way into the inside. That is what they hate the most. They did not think he would ever win. Every poll, without fail, back in 2016, I remember it even though I wasn't that interested in politics back when I was 16, 15, 14 years old. I remember seeing that everybody thought that Hillary was a shoo-in, Trump was out of his league, out of his depth, he was only selling with the morons and the dummies, and that there was no way he could ever possibly be elected. And then guess what happened? He was. So what did they do? They said, oh, hold on. Okay, in my estimation, here's what they said. Ooh, wow, our illegal alien vote didn't pull through. We didn't pull enough strings because we thought we had this in the bag. So what do? We got to increase the immigration. We got to make sure that no voter ID laws are set. We have to get in his way every which way to Sunday. We have to attack him and his family 24/7 all the time. And then we're going to make sure that the illegal aliens can vote. We got to make sure we change every state law we can get away with using the judicial branch. And then what we're going to do is we're going to skew it every which way to Sunday. And if anybody says anything, then they're the bigot, they're the bad guy, not me for doing it. Or me for letting it happen, or you for letting it happen. No. It was us again, the deplorables who love America. We're the bad guys. And if you even question the fact that we checked ourselves and didn't lie about it, well, then you buy the big lie. And so therefore, all of you are enemies of the state. And to prove it, we're going to stage, according to what I have read, they basically staged a Reichstag fire, and it now it's blowing up in their faces. And the one man who had the courage to run the footage, Tucker Carlson, gets fired from Fox News, the one place that people thought had any semblance of independence or conservative values. He gets thrown off the air, and then his ratings go through the roof when he goes on Twitter and other people's shows. My friends, you want to know why people like Trump, in my estimation? It's because they're sick of the oligarchy that's masked as a democracy. We live in an aristocracy that's punctuated every 2 years, 4 years, 6 years by elections. And the reason why people like Trump is they're used to being attacked. They're used to being put down. They're used to having the law leveraged against them by the lawyers, civilly, criminally, you name it. And so when they see a guy like Trump who's just trying to do the right thing in their minds, and then he's being put down, he's being attacked, he's being marginalized, they're going to identify with him more than the corporate schmucks, the empty suits on the news channels. You think they're going to identify with the guy who pretends, or the gal who pretends like they're oppressed minorities, or they're down with the people? Meanwhile, they know they live in nice houses, drive fancy cars, have private security? What, are you joking? You really think they're going to identify with that? The average person, their best defense is the police or their Remington. That's all they got. They don't have Secret Service. They don't have hired security. They don't have a nice house in a nice neighborhood with a gated community. No, they have to actually work for a living instead of just tearing people down. So when the question arises of should Trump step aside, it's more of should the average Joe and Jane step aside? Do their opinions not matter? Because it seems to me like the communist machine, which I will not call liberals because they're not liberals. Liberals stand for liberty. Communists stand for complete control. And yet we see all around us that the idea of controlling everything that you read, hear, see, whatever, is at an all-time high. And they hate guys like Musk. They hate guys like Trump, who dare to actually challenge the system and don't just get in line and take a party card and dummy up. They don't like it. So when people ask me, should Trump step aside, or when I hear people like Christie talk about how Trump should step aside, or people like Nikki Haley saying he should step aside, okay, but the one thing I will say is Trump did a horrible thing to DeSantis. He kneecapped DeSantis. Personally, I think that DeSantis is a better candidate than Trump. Not because Trump would be a bad president, but because he's so polarizing that at the end of the day, we would be reliving 2016 and 2020 all over again, which, hey, if we're talking about for the economy, that would be fantastic, because in case you didn't realize it, the minute Trump left office, the economy took a fat nosedive, and now because we've kissed Saudi Arabia's behind enough, and someone woke up Joe Biden and said, hey, dummy, you might want to actually produce some oil so that the average schmuck can drive his car. And the whole message of just buying an electric car isn't selling. Outside of California and Austin, Texas, they said, in New York City, they said, all right, fine, I'll kiss the ring, I'll do whatever, just in time for the election. I'll pretend like I was doing my job the whole time, and then if anybody says otherwise, I'll just call them a liar or whatever. You think I'm making this up? I wish I was, frankly, because it'd make for a good book, but I'm not making this up. But my friends, look, I gotta be honest with you. When people ask me if Trump should step aside, I say no. The reason is because why? Why should he? First of all, I don't believe the charges that are levied against him, I'll tell you that right now. I've seen a lot to do with them literally doing everything they possibly can since this man came down the escalator in New York City. They've done everything they can to destroy him. Hook, crook, everything. They've tried every way they could possibly try to get rid of him. So if everybody on either side is saying get rid of this guy, don't you think that might actually be good for you? What, you think the rich people and the people in power who are basically just mouthpieces for the rich, do you really think that the robber barons of our time, you really think that they care about you? They'll replace you with an AI robot the first time they get a chance, you mark my words. Within the next 50 years tops, you will see a very unavoidable wave of socialism and a lot of unemployment because there are so many people who have been replaced by robots and artificial intelligences who will work for free, who will work long hours without rest, and who will probably do your job better than you. Why do you think the assembly line was made? Because people's hands were moving too slow. Why do you think that they started building housing units around workplaces like at Google? Because people were taking too long to get to work. And now people can't work hard enough, they can't work long enough, and they're not doing their jobs well enough, so what do you think is going to happen next? Answer, they're going to replace you. Just look at all the strikes going on around the country. You really think they're gonna get away with this? No, they won't. They might get away with it in the short term, but they'll lose the long game because their goals are short-sighted, not long-term orientated. I don't take joy in telling this to you. I wish I could sit here and tell you that everything's going to work out for us, but it's not true. The average schmuck is going to get screwed over again. Because a wise man once told me that any time that two parties agree on something, the average American is about to get it up the you-know-where. So that's why when I see both sides attacking Trump, it makes you ask, wait a minute, why? Why are they hating on Trump? Why is he such a lightning rod for chaos, controversy, hate-mongering, you name it? Why? Answer, because they see him as a threat to the emerging worldwide government. It was H.G. Wells who talked about the idea of a one-world government to avoid world wars. And then there are people like George Soros talking about how he wants the US dollar gone for a centralized currency, and he's not alone. Do you really think all these things are just coincidences? No. No. In fact, the opposite is true. It's all happening for a reason. World War II changed everything, and I'm not going to get into World War II because you'll hang up the show. But here's the thing I really want to get across to you. Trump should not step aside, and the reason why is because he has every right to run. If he wants to step out, that's his choice. But if he's up in the polls, he's winning. Why is it the more they attack him, the more he seems to go up in the polls? Have you noticed that too? Because the average person is not as dumb as they think. They think the average schmuck is so stupid that he'll believe whatever's put in front of their on their Android or iPhone. That's not true. Because the poll numbers don't reflect that. Well, my friends, what do you think? I've gone on for about 15 minutes now. But here's my question. What are your thoughts? Do you think that Trump should step aside for the good of the country? Do you think that he shouldn't? Do you support him? Do you not support him? Do you love him? Do you hate him? Where do you stand in all this? This is a very important conflict. Very important conversation. Because you look on the debate stage, he doesn't even show up, and yet he continues to go up in the poll. That's not an accident. When's the last time you saw a Democrat run on a anti-Biden, anti-Obama, anti-Bill Clinton, anti-Hillary Clinton campaign? Anti-Nancy Pelosi. When's the last time you saw that happen? I haven't seen it. Maybe I missed that. But yet you have people on the Republican side running against Trump, saying he's no good, saying that they're not like Trump and they're wanting... It's dividing the House against itself. But what do you think? I'll leave it up to you to decide where you stand on the issue. In the meantime, if you like what you heard, you want to hear more, subscribe to the show, follow me on X or Twitter, @Sheep Get Sheared, support the Patreon. I'm going to start adding more content over there for the exclusive members. You can order a Biblical Bachelor on Amazon or at your local bookstore. If you really want to step up your life, get into some personal development and tend your own garden, because let's be honest, what can you really do right now besides tend your own garden and talk about it like I am? I mean, what else can you really do? We don't have power. We don't live in an actual democracy. We live basically in a vassal state where the king tells us what the hell to do, and we do it. That's it. We pay taxes, and that's about it. Well, my friends, I'll leave it up to you on where you stand on this issue. In the meantime, God bless you. God bless your families. God bless America. Enjoy the Christmas season, for God's sakes. I'm out. Peace.